First, and as always, we do have our disclaimer. Horizon Trust Company is a passive custodian and, as such, only performs the duties of a custodian. Horizon Trust Company does not provide advice, sell investments, nor offer any tax or legal advice. So we just have to do that disclaimer. We are answering everything to the best of our ability, but we are not licensed to give financial advice. That is not our role at Horizon Trust. We simply hold the investments and make sure everything remains compliant by IRS standards. And that's kind of what we're here to do today with you and your questions. We want to ensure that we're able to answer everything to the best of your abilities. It seems like my volume might be a little bit low, so we'll try and turn that up, see if that helps. I think we might be going to kind of full blast there. So if we do have any issues, it might be audio levels on your own side. Give that a try as well. One of the things that Claudia and I wanted to talk about, while you guys do give us your questions, you can drop them into the Q&A section, so that way we can kind of go through them in order. I know things tend to get lost in the chat, so if you do have questions, we do want to hear them. Drop them into the Q&A section of the chat of the webinar, and we'll go through them there. While you are getting those questions up and going for us, one of the things that we wanted to mention is those of you that are here, you understand what self-directing is, or you've seen maybe an ad or something to kind of jump in here and be with us today. Well, self-directing is taking your retirement account and taking control over what you invest in. We are not your traditional custodian like Fidelity or Schwab, where you are invested into stocks and bonds and mutual funds and things like that. We allow you to diversify your investment portfolio. That's what our custodianship allows. It lets you take your retirement money, follow IRS regulations, and make investments into alternative assets that you know and understand. Some of those assets are real estate. We also have precious metals. You could do private money lending. So there's more possibilities on what you can do versus what you can't. The IRS has certain regulations on what you cannot invest in, such as art, collectibles, alcohol, I believe is one of them. But pretty much the doors are open for you to be creative with your investments and grow your retirement funds in a way that you know and understand. And the reason I'm bringing this up today is because I recently saw an article from the Wall Street Journal that actually says that 401k has reached a tipping point, and it's taking over American retirement. And what that means is that in the past 10 years, about 10% of individuals in America have gained access to a 401k through government initiatives, and such, that allows them to now have a 401k plan or retirement plan as opposed to a pension that was in place maybe 50 years ago. And how that's differed is because in the past 10 years that increase has happened, it's still only about 50% of people, which has gone up from 43%, who are actually contributing to those 401ks. So 50% of people are only taking advantage of what is just right there within reach. And we wanted to bring this up today because it's a very valuable point for you as the individual and for your business. If you are a business owner and you're looking for money, there's your money. Those individuals have money in their retirement accounts that they can invest with you. That is your friend, that is your neighbor, that is a family member, not a disqualified family member, but perhaps a family member that is there with a 401k plan that is maybe earning about 3 to 4% per year, depending on the market, and growing at its rate. So we wanted to bring this up because it has some other advantages. You were talking about a couple points earlier. What were those?
Well, one of the points that I brought up is that people are changing careers a lot, and what that means is that these people that have been contributed into your current 401k, now they are looking to change into or shift into another career, another job, and when you do that, you have the opportunity to go ahead and take that 401k from your current employer and change it into a self-directing a self-directing custodian like ourselves. So when you do that shift, when you have that career change, or you want to go into business for yourself, there's a lot of people that are going into being entrepreneurs. They are being contractors now instead of being employees. So all of those shifts let you go ahead and take that 401k that people are investing in. We have seen a shift in people actually taking advantage of the 401k. I feel like 10 years ago, people didn't really know what a 401k was. They didn't understand it. But with all the social media and all of the, financial education that people are seeing, I feel like people are more taking advantage of it and learning about self-directing or things like what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of the thing, and social media is a big part of what
Mhm.
is happening, is everyone is on social media in one way, shape, or form, and they are looking at their circumstances and seeing, do my skills translate into me being able to be an entrepreneur, make more money to help myself, help my family, or whatever the case may be? But you had a corporate job. So
Yes.
that corporate job most likely provided you with that 401k plan, which has grown to an amount.
Mhm.
And rather than leaving it behind, when you leave that corporate job, you take it with you.
Yeah.
You,
Or what a lot of people do is that they switch it over to their new employer, right? So if they have a new employer, they switch it to the 401k there, which is fine. But when you think about diversifying and you think about actually having all of it together, right? You can do something like self-directing with your previous custodian one, and then you can start your new one with your new career. And that way you can have the stocks and bonds that are typical, and then you can have something like what we offer, which is alternative investing. So
yeah.
you can have it all.
Yeah, no, you definitely can. And you want to make sure that you understand these rules, because once your money is with your current employer, it's pretty much locked in there
Mhm.
until you leave. I had a friend not too long ago, it was about 2 years ago, who left his job as a reporter. So he was a reporter on TV and had his retirement account with a custodian. It's a traditional custodian. And he joined to be part of the police department. The police department has a government issued account that has a 403b. So they put money into it and grow in a pension like state. Rather than moving over his money from that traditional custodian to his pension or his 403b with the police department, he brought it over here to Horizon Trust because he knows what I did, and he started lending his money out. He has made more returns with that money here at Horizon than he would have if he went the traditional route of putting it with his 403b. So you just want to understand that when you're making a career change, even if it's from one corporate entity to another, where is your money going to work for you in ways that you understand it better? So that's something that you definitely want to consider if you do already have that 401k from your company that is being offered.
That's correct.
So with that, we are getting quite a bit of questions coming into the conversation, so we can go ahead and kind of get started. Let's see. One of the first questions that came in is, how is it different to be with Horizon versus doing it on our own if it's self-directed? So that's a great question. Horizon Trust is the custodian. We are licensed to hold retirement accounts. We perform reporting to the IRS and give them information based on any contributions or distributions that are made from the account. So we do have to follow some regulations. The self-directed part is that you make the investments that you want to know and understand. We will allow you and walk you through the process to make sure that your investment is made in compliance with IRS regulations and that all paperwork is filed correctly, at least held within your account here. But once that is situated, Horizon Trust does take a backseat role in just reporting purposes. So you do need a licensed custodian to hold retirement funds. You are not able to hold those funds personally, and that's where our role comes in, as well as ensuring compliance and reporting regulations for the government.
Let's see. We have somebody asking, how is it different to be with Horizon versus doing it on your own if it's self-directed? That's the one that you
That's
just
the one that
answered.
I just answered.
Okay. Okay, you want to go to the next one?
Yeah. I'm setting up a couple of businesses and have been using credit for startup costs. Can I use funds from my self directed IRA to pay off the credit? Claudia, I think this one I'm going to pass off to you.
Yeah. So Shane, what we would like to ask is if you have a business or an LLC that you're operating, because if you do, you can go ahead and set up what we call a solo 401k. And what happens with a solo 401k is that you have the option of getting a personal loan from it. So you would basically be borrowing against the 401k. You can take up to $50,000 or 50% of the account value, whichever's less. So if you have 100,000, you can take 50,000. If you have 50,000, you can take 25,000. And what you can do with that is basically pay off any credit card debt that you have. A lot of our entrepreneurs and business owners that are our clients, they take that money and they go ahead and bring down all of their debt, personal debt, and then they pay the 401k back. So you're basically paying yourself back. And you do have to have an interest rate on it, but it would be something that you're paying yourself back and growing your 401k with. So not only are you reducing the interest rate for a credit card, you're also paying yourself back and growing the 401k that way. So it's an excellent choice. That is not offered in IRAs. It's only for 401ks. So I know that somebody else asked the same question, like, can I borrow against my IRA? You cannot, but you can borrow against the 401k. And if you had a question of whether you qualify or not, then just get one of our IRA specialists on the phone and they'll be able to kind of go over the qualifying questions and let you know if you do qualify.
Yeah. So our team is here. They're in the back. Alicia's here. She'll drop a link into the chat. So if at any point anything we say does resonate with you, if you're an existing client or you're looking to become a client or just get more information, you can schedule a call with our team. We have that information available for you there. And you'll be able to kind of go through that process, like Claudia said, get more information and see if you qualify for that 401k plan, because that 401k plan is very powerful with that loan feature to allow you to take more money. Let's see. One of the next questions that came in from Ray was, are the owners of a retirement fund able to be anonymous in the LLC within the fund? Is it possible to have a Wyoming LLC?
So the answer is yes, you can go ahead and have a Wyoming LLC. And then, well, the owner of the LLC, if you're talking about a checkbook LLC, the owner of that LLC would be your retirement account. So it would basically be titled the owner Horizon Trust for the benefit of, and then the IRA, the client's IRA name. Um, how you keep it anonymous is that it's basically, unless they know that you own a retirement account, they won't be able to bring it up, and you are the manager, and making you the manager will give you access to be able to do your own investing and kind of manage the LLC that way. And then all of the funds or proceeds go back into your Horizon Trust account. And Wyoming, we do recommend Wyoming because it is the best state for asset protection, and the fees are just lower in annual fees because the LLCs do have annual fees that they have to file. So Wyoming would be one of what we recommend for you to go ahead and have as your LLC filing.
Yeah. Great questions. And our team is also experts in that area. So if you do have more information or need more help with that, we're able to assist you there. Kelly asks, I thought the funds in the solo K must come from business earnings. So, Kelly, there's a couple kind of points there within your question. The first is when you're initially starting your solo K with Horizon Trust, the money that rolls over can come from an old retirement account, it can come from contributions. There are contribution limits that the IRS sets. We have that available on our website at horizontrust.com. But that information for starting your solo 401k, that money can come from a number of places. And as for continuing the funding of the account, the business earnings is one portion of the contribution. So the 401k does have the highest contribution amount than any other retirement account. But a portion of it comes from contributions made by the business, and the other portion are contributions made by you as the individual. So it's hard to sometimes explain because you and the business are in a solo K are often the same person, but you're two different entities if you think about it by IRS regulations. Your business has its EIN and it is filing contributions on behalf of your retirement account, and then you are making contributions of your own accord. So that's two different aspects to be able to continue to add money uh, in that regard.
And to add to that, the other way that you can fund a 401k is if you have a previous IRA or 401k from a previous employer. So we would set you up with a 401k here in the name of the business. So it's sponsored by your LLC. And then we would do a transfer from your current IRA or 401k, wherever that's at. And that way you can go ahead, let's say you have $100,000 with Fidelity in an IRA, then we would go ahead and transfer that into a 401k, and from there you can go ahead and take the loan that we were talking about, the personal loan from the 401k.
Yeah, great points. Jonah asks, can you pull 100% of self-direct to invest? I'm going to add a little context there that I think is, can you pull 100% of the funds in your self-directed account to invest? The answer is yes. Here at Horizon Trust, we do allow you to take 100% of your account value and move it into your investments. It lets you have full control over that liquidity. We do require a credit card be on file in case any fees come up, which we don't have many fees. Our plans are pretty much all inclusive. So you have an annual fee. If you're setting up an account with us, there will be a setup fee. But then after that, it's just an annual fee that's on the anniversary of your account when that is due. And that is pretty much an all inclusive plan, apart from a couple of tax documents, I believe, which are the ones that we have a third party that does tax documents for us. So that cost just kind of transfers over. But other than that, 100% of your retirement funds can be invested to continue to grow as retirement funds. And if you have a Roth account, that's very powerful because that means that your money is going to be growing tax free. I'm currently 29 years old. And if I'm growing that Roth account till retirement age, that is going to be very powerful Roth. Let's see. Lily asked, I need assistance regarding the process to fund a private money real estate deal through my self-directed account. Could you please guide me on how to proceed with this? Also, I am interested in understanding the fastest way to complete the funding process via a checkbook. Great question, Lily. So, because of the checkbook part there at the end, I'm questioning on whether you are just trying to do it through the checkbook or if you're trying to do it through the self directed account, particularly. We'll cover both angles just to make sure we're good. But yes, so we'll take the first part of your process. So, you're doing a private money lending into a real estate deal through your self directed account. In order to do that, here at Horizon Trust, you'll take a direction of investment form. Then you're going to provide supporting documentation that will give the criteria of how the investment is structured. Are you first on the loan? How much are you going to be getting back? Is there a time frame? All of this is what our team, our investments and document review team, will look at to make sure that you are following IRS regulations and compliance. They're very good at reviewing their documents, and I believe they have a 24, 48-hour time frame in to review the documents and get back in contact with you to try and expedite these investments. We know some of these deals, especially real estate deals, can be very time sensitive, and that's why our team and our company has been structured to try and help everyone get their investments completed within a 48-hour time frame, to the best of our ability. It all depends on documentation being in good order, but that's what it needs. The second part of your question was funding the process via a checkbook. For those of you that are maybe joining us for the first time, the checkbook is a Checkbook LLC. We've talked about that numerous times in the past. It's a very popular item for individuals, perhaps like Lily or someone else who has time sensitive investments like tax liens, that you need to have control of the funds. Anything coming to us, like I mentioned, has a review process, and money gets sent out in a particular way. We have wires, checks, ACHs, but we don't have credit cards. If you are trying to do maybe like a tax lien where you need to pay something with a credit card or a debit card right away, That's not something that we're able to do through Horizon directly. And that's where that checkbook control comes in through that Checkbook LLC. It just allows you the additional control of the money in the account of your retirement account. So a special LLC is created where your self directed retirement account is the owner and it makes the investments. So your LLC is able to make all these investments as if it were your retirement account because essentially it is. The owner is your retirement account. And once those investments, and you are the manager, correct?
Yeah, one of the biggest things that we get asked about is how do I have instant control of my money? 24 to 48 hours is the fastest in the industry. So I will say that we have a really good system and we have a team that you can lean on at all hours, business hours, Monday through Friday, 7 to 4. But if you had an investment where you have to have access right away and you have to do the wire or the ACH that same day, then you would want to get a checkbook LLC. You still have to comply with all of the rules of an IRA or a 401k. But other than that, you can go ahead and have access to it and you'll be able to make that investment same day.
Absolutely. Paul, I want to kind of ask your question just because I don't fully understand it. So you might need to provide me a little bit more context there. How do we set up my Horizon Roth IRA to invest via an algorithm? I'm not exactly sure what you're asking.
I think he's asking for stocks, maybe.
Perhaps if you can give me a little bit more context there, Paul, that would help to answer that question. And once I kind of see that information, I'll see if we can answer that. Terrence is asking, I have an investment that is being litigated, but want to make another investment. Can this be done while my first investment is being litigated? So, as long as there's money still available, you can do that. Your retirement account still has access. Because the investment is the one in litigation, not your retirement account. So, any available funds that you have in that retirement account, you are able to invest those through its own avenues.
A lot of people are asking on the interest rate on the loan and how do they pay themselves back for the personal loan. So the way that you pay yourself back is you just set up an automatic ACH every month to go ahead and get extracted, and that money goes straight into your 401k here at Horizon. So there's a process for that. There's some paperwork that you have to fill out, give us a way to check and things like that. And then the interest rate, it is what is the interest rate? It's 2% to 8% is what we're seeing. It's supposed to be prime plus two. That's what is recommended. But because interest rates are they fluctuate so much in the last 1 to 2 years, we've seen anything as low as 2% and as high as like 8 to 10%.
I want to say highest is 15 or 20 from what our compliance team has set up. We have an amortization schedule calculator, which every 401k loan, that is a personal loan that you take from your retirement account, requires an amortization schedule. So our team will help you create that amortization schedule and you can play with that interest calculator there. One of their recommendations is make sure you can afford it. Afford the monthly
That's
payment.
important.
Yes, because you don't want to default on this. If you take out a $50,000 loan, that is allowed by the IRS. But if you default on it, any value outstanding is reported to the IRS as income to you that was distributed, and then it's going to be a taxable event that you are going to have to deal with on your taxes. So, one of the key points that our team always says when you're doing this 401k loan, when trying to determine what interest rate you want to set up, is make sure you can afford it. If you can afford the 401k loan at a 20% interest rate, great. You are paying yourself 20% interest, which is relatively the same as some credit cards. But if you need an interest rate at 2 or 5%, that's fine also. So our team can help you there. And that amortization schedule, again, it's on our website, horizontrust.com. It's on our forms page it's on the forms page near the 401k loan application, which is towards the bottom of the page. So you can actually find it there. And it was a valuable resource that you can look at and play with to just see what those options are in real time. Let's see. This question, I love this question. How does self directed IRA flexibility differ between using Horizon versus Fidelity? So, in recent years, we've seen traditional custodians like Fidelity offer self directed accounts in their custodianship. That's not really self directing because they're saying, yes, you can self direct into this investment, this investment, this investment. So they have the list of what you can invest in. So they are still controlling where you can go. Here at Horizon, we do not tell you what you can invest in. We tell you what you can't invest in. If you try to make an investment that isn't allowed, we will let you know. But anything other than that, our team will assist you with telling you what documentation is needed to make your investments possible.
Yeah, the main difference is that a self-directed IRA or 401k with a custodian like Fidelity is not alternative investing. So that's where they get mixed up. A self-directed with them is means that you can just click the button and you can go ahead and invest in any stock that they offer or any mutual fund that they offer. When you're talking about alternative investing, which is real estate, precious metals, um, uh, what are the precious metal Bitcoin, now crypto's a big one.
Crypto's a big one.
That's what a company like Horizon Trust offers. So it's the difference between investing in what they have to offer and investing into alternative investing. So
Correct. Yep. Um,
somebody is asking Roth IRA or IUL insurance. Very
Insurance.
different.
Yeah.
Those are two different vehicles. If you are interested in whole life insurance, you definitely would want to talk to a company that does it. We do have one of our partners actually does whole life insurance. It's a totally different vehicle. It is basically for investing as well. So you definitely, if you're interested in that, you should definitely reach out for them. A Roth IRA would be more for retirement accounts. So two different vehicles.
Two different vehicles serve similar purposes, for sure. You just definitely need to understand the differences between the two. And as Claudia mentioned, we do have a partner. So if that is something you're interested in learning more of, we can definitely assist you with that and making that connection to understand that. Jody, I saw that you had a similar question. So if you want, get in contact with our team, and we can definitely make that introduction to give you more information there.
We have David that's asking, is it best to have two checkbook LLCs and keep Roth and traditional checkbook LLCs separate? The answer would be yes. You can go ahead and do a what's called a two-member LLC, and the two members would be your Roth IRA and then your IRA. It's just it keeps it cleaner if you just keep it separate. Some are pre-tax dollars and some are tax deferred and after tax. So you don't want to mix the two. If you are very savvy and you know how to do all of your calculations, then we won't tell you you can't do it because that again is advising.
Not our role. Mhm.
Right. We'll do it for you. It's just I would recommend I come from the LLC business. I did that for 13 years and I just recommend you keep all of your books separate. Every account should be separate, every business should be separate. They recommend properties. You can keep all of the properties separate. You don't necessarily have to. You can do what we call a real estate trust. I believe I haven't done it. Privacy trust. So, sorry, privacy trust, which is basically a filing with your state where your property's at, and that keeps it separate. So you can either do each property in an LLC, or you can go ahead and do a privacy trust, which a lot of people like to take advantage of. But for your accounts, I would recommend that you keep them separate.
Yeah, definitely keeping money separate is a good idea based on the type of money that it is. So, like Claudia mentioned, if it's pre-tax or post-tax dollars, you want to keep that separate just for IRS regulations. When money's coming back, you know that this money has grown without taxes, and this one has already paid its taxes. So that's a very good point there. Um, I'm going to ask you this question because I'm not entirely sure on the answer. Angelique said, if my business is ever sued, is that 401k at risk?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. So one of the things that is out of litigation are retirement accounts. So whether this be at Horizon Trust or any other custodian or IRAs in any other custodian, they wouldn't be able to sue you for that because that's your personal retirement account. Um, I think a great example is OJ when he got sued. They couldn't take away his pension for his NFL because that is protected by the government or from whoever protects it, but they're not allowed to do it. So that's a great question. No, you wouldn't, it wouldn't be in jeopardy.
Um, Perfect. And then Robert's asking a great question. We actually just did a webinar on this about a month ago. Can you explain what needs to be done for the valuation of your holdings in the self-directed account for tax purposes? So Robert, on our YouTube channel, under Greg Herlene's account, you can look up our fair market valuation webinar that we did roughly a month ago. And in that webinar, we went into details about how to do this exact thing. For those of you that are unaware, what Robert's asking is, now that I have my account established at Horizon Trust and I have my investments, how do I ensure that the valuation of my investments is accurate within the account for tax purposes? Well, the IRS informs us that we have to tell our clients that reporting must be done annually, and that is done through a fair market valuation reporting. So a individual who is authorized to report the value of an account's assets would do so in a self-directed space, depending on the type of asset. That is how it would get kind of completed, because the say you have a real estate property in there, you would need a real estate agent or broker, someone who can assess the property's value to be able to report that. But say you have a checkbook LLC, you as the manager are able to give those values for the LLC, including how much cash is in the account, what investments are outstanding, and how much money they're at, and anything of that nature. So again, our fair market valuation webinar that we did about a month ago is going to have a lot of information about this, and it's going to be very insightful to help answer these questions.
We have somebody that's asking, can my Horizon account be entered into a trust? I think what you're asking is if you can have your like a revocable living trust or any kind of trust for your family, if that could be the beneficiary of your Horizon Trust account. And the answer is yes. We have a lot of clients that choose that because they already did their directives in the real estate, in the revocable living trust. So that would be saving time. So you don't have to go ahead and give it for each of your accounts. So if you have a revocable living trust, you can just name that as the beneficiary for all of your accounts, and that way your executor can go ahead and know what your plans are once you pass.
Yeah. And that's a very smart way of protecting money. It's what wealthy individuals have been doing for many years to limit tax purposes and tax liability on their money when it's moving from generation to generation. So it's definitely something that you want to consider. And one of the things you definitely never want to do, but we unfortunately see it quite often, is leave no beneficiary on your account. We do see that quite regularly, and we try to work with our clients as much as possible and contact them regularly to let them know, hey, you do not have a beneficiary listed on your account, and it would be very wise to add a beneficiary. Again, we have a passive role, so there's only so much that we can do, but we will do our best to inform you of what you should be doing in regards to your account. Fred, first of all, Fred, thank you for being a client. His question is, why should I use Horizons Trust instead of another custodian for my IRA? Just thought it would be great to share the advantages of Horizon Trust. So some of the great advantages, like you mentioned, Fred, is that, or like you may have experienced, is that our timeframes. We have a really fast processing times, as we mentioned earlier. Most investments can be completed within 48 hours. We have a concierge team that is dedicated and answering calls for you. So you are speaking with a live representative. Most of them are here in our Las Vegas office, but we do have a couple of remote individuals, and they are helping answer your questions as quickly as possible and as accurately as possible, because you don't want to just get an answer that is wrong. You want to get the right answer the first time you call. So our team is here to help you. We go through extensive training to ensure that all of our teams are at their best to ensure that your questions are being answered. And we recently got a testimonial that came in on Friday, but I was actually off that day, so didn't see it. And I want to touch on that testimonial because it covered so many different departments. It started with our new account reps, which, if you are interested in opening an account, you would speak with these individuals. They will go through the process, identify the right account for you based on your background and what you have available. Then we have one of our representatives who will assist in transferring over money, like you mentioned. We will hold your hand through the process, contact your old custodian, and call them regularly to get that money moved over. That's not something that many custodians even do or offer.
No.
Most of them leave it up to you. So if I leave my employer and I want to move my money over to, a traditional custodian, they're like, okay, here's their number. Try and give them a call and see what they say. And it's your job to kind of go through the ring around to get that money out of there. We do that for you. You will have to be on the phone with us because most of them won't allow us to talk with them directly without you, but we'll do most of the heavy lifting and we'll do the follow ups for you, which we can try to do without you being on there. But if we do need you, we'll give you a call. And then the investments part. We have an investments team, like I mentioned, who is going to be helping you, walking through the process, reviewing your documentation, making sure that everything is meeting IRS regulations. It's just every point of the company that Greg has worked on and thought of throughout these past uh, 11, 12 years in the industry is definitely fine tuned to be the best in the industry. So that is what separates us from the crowd. We care about our clients and we want to make sure that these investments, which are a deal to you, become a deal to us. Let's see.
I have somebody ask, does Horizon host networking events online or in person? We don't, but we should.
Sorry, say that one more time.
Does Horizon Trust host networking events online or in person? So one of the,
Yeah.
do you want to go over the Facebook?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Yeah, so we don't have networking events where you can connect, with individuals like you are right now in the webinar, but we do have our exclusive Facebook group for clients. So if you are a client of Horizon Trust, you are able to join our Facebook group. And in there, we have clients that are posting deals and talking about making their next investments. They say they lend money, they say they have real estate opportunities. So our people are networking within this Facebook group to access money or access a deal. Some of these people might be in other communities. If you have come to Horizon Trust from a community of maybe a social media person that you follow online, they have their own communities of investment types that they do, whether it's real estate, flipping, investing, whatever the case is, they have their own groups, but those groups lack one thing: money. And that's where our group thrives. At Horizon Trust, if they're on that uh, Facebook group, you can almost guarantee that they have the access to the funds that you are looking for. But in regard to hosting groups, we might have to start that out. We'll look into that. We'll look into that for sure. Maybe doing a virtual one at first, and if it grows, we might be able to host one here in Vegas. Let's see here.
Somebody's asking for the Facebook link.
Facebook link. The Facebook link is also available. As mentioned, this is exclusively for clients. So if you're not a client, unfortunately, we don't have access for you at this time. But it is available on our website, horizontrust.com, via our investment corner. If you don't have the password for our investment corner, because that's another exclusive tool for clients, you can email our concierge team and they can give you that password. Let's see. Lots of questions here and 15 minutes remaining. Ugh. You guys are amazing. Thank you all for being here today. Let's see. Margaret, I want to touch on your question here. I have a self-directed IRA with you, and it is an investment property. My rent monies goes to another account, and I am not sure why that is. I have not touched the rent dollars since buying the investment property. Can I use the rent dollars to pay taxes on the property? So yes, you can use the rent dollars to pay the taxes on the property. I'm going to answer that question first. In regard to where that money is going, Margaret, you're going to want to make sure of where that is. If it's going to a personal account, don't do that. If the investment was made through your Horizon Trust self directed account, the money needs to come back to Horizon. If you have it through an LLC that you then made the investment, then it can go back into that LLC's bank account. But you don't want to make an investment from your, I'll take my name as an example. So you don't want to go from Horizon Trust, Alex Padilla Roth IRA to purchase the property, and then that money from that property is going directly into my personal bank account. That is definitely something you do not want to do. That is breaking the cycle of how the IRS money is supposed to be moving. All the money should be going back and forth between the retirement accounts. If you have that Checkbook LLC, then between the Checkbook LLC and the investment. But it should not leave the ecosystem of the retirement accounts unless it's leaving from us at Horizon. So once the money's back in Horizon, if you want to take that money for yourself personally, say you need a distribution or something, then you would take distribution from Horizon and we will send you a check or wire, whatever you want, and get that situated. So yes, you can use the money from your investments to pay for your investments. Checkbook LLCs quantify as an investment. So any money you earn, you can use to then pay for that Checkbook LLC for the next year. But you want to make sure that you are not moving money in outside of the scope of the retirement account.
Yeah. And to add to that, not only can you pay with the rent money, you should be paying with the rent money because any bills that are paid for that property should come from your IRA and not mixed by personal funds.
Mhm.
So if you don't have any IRA funds, you would want to make a contribution so that you can go ahead and have money to pay those extra expenses that come with the property.
Yeah. Um, One of the things that we've seen with the past, thank you for bringing that up, Claudia. That's a very good point. Is people have sent us their credit card statement with a receipt for a purchase that they did for a rental property. That's not allowed.
Mhm.
You can't be paying things personally, like Claudia just mentioned. So if you do, it's we can't repay you. You shouldn't be doing that. It should be coming directly from your retirement account. So making contributions into your retirement account, like Claudia mentioned, is going to be the right way of doing it. Um, Paul followed up on my request from earlier. He said, "So I guess my question is, oh, lost it. There it is. So I guess my question is how to connect a brokerage account to my Horizon Roth IRA. So we can't connect a brokerage account directly with us here at Horizon Trust, but you can open a brokerage account. You can do that through a Checkbook LLC to then open a business a brokerage account with whatever type of fiduciary you want to invest in that. Um, or there's a couple of options that we can send the money directly to them on behalf of your self-directed account. So it really just depends on what you're trying to do and how you're trying to take control of that. But directly with Horizon, we don't have that access, unfortunately.
They can use Axos, no? Wouldn't that be the
They can use
Yeah.
Axos. Axos would be the direct version.
Yeah.
So we can send the
So
money to Axos, and yep.
we have a company, a brokerage company, that is on our investment corner that you can reach out to, and we would be able to set up the account in the name of the IRA here at Horizon, and then we would move the funds through a direction of investment, and then you can go ahead and do what you want with the stock market. So that's something that a lot of our clients like. Somebody else asked, "Can I use Fidelity from directly from Horizon. So Fidelity is not one that lets you set up a self-directed IRA from another custodian. You would have to transfer it out. So if you wanted to do that, you can go ahead and set up a Checkbook LLC, and then from there you can set up an account with Fidelity in the name of the LLC, just as long as all of the funds are invested into from the LLC, and then they go back into the LLC when you're done with the investment.
Let's see. Thomas asks, does the gold you purchase at least 99.5% pure, or is it more? So Thomas, we don't actually make the purchases ourselves. There are certain regulations set by the IRS on the purity levels of the gold. I don't know those off the top of my head, but a licensed gold dealer who you would work with to make a precious metals investment would know that information and would give you the gold that is compliant to be purchased within your retirement account. So I'm sorry I don't have that exact number for you, but it does have to meet certain purity levels set by the IRS to be eligible for investments.
And on our investment corner, we do have some options for precious metals. If you were interested in that type of investment, go to our investment corner, and we'll be able to you'll be able to read up on it and then reach out to the broker directly.
Mm. This is an interesting question. Simone asked, I have a rental property that got a roof assessment from the HOA. Question, can I lend my rental property the funds to pay the full assessment and charge interest rate amount that goes back to the solo 401k?
I think she's asking to lend it herself, like personally, which would be prohibited.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make a contribution into the account and use that, but you wouldn't be able to lend it. Now, somebody else can lend it to you if you have, a friend, a neighbor, cousin that wants to lend your IRA money. Then you can do a promissory note. Then you would put the money into the IRA, and from there you can go ahead and pay whatever expenses you don't have in the IRA in idle cash.
Yeah. Adding to kind of Claudia's point on who you can invest with, Fred followed up a little bit later with, am I correct that with an IRA, I can invest horizontally, but not vertically? So what he means there is if you look at your parents' your family tree in a linear sense, up and down is prohibited. So parents, grandparents, children, grandchildren are prohibited, but you can go outwards. So your aunts, uncles, your brothers, sisters, those are allowed. Your wife or spouse, once they are your spouse, they are prohibited prior to putting a ring on it right after Valentine's Day. They are eligible. So we do not recommend it. Greg has had this conversation before where he has a friend who has not married because he's able to invest with his longtime partner. But that is not an excuse to not get married, according to Greg. Look at your own.
I think it was fun. It was all fun and games at the beginning, and now she's like,
I
all
want to
right.
get married.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's time. The investment's not worth it.
literally.
It's
We have somebody asking, can hotels, car rentals, when visiting rental properties be paid through the IRA bank account? You would have to talk to a CPA about that. The IRS basically doesn't want you running a business with this LLC, so I would recommend against it. But if you have a CPA that can go ahead and basically be be sign off on it, then that's up to your CPA and you. But the IRS does not want you running a business with this Checkbook LLC. So that to me would be running more of a business.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. 10:52 here on the Pacific Coast. So I want to hit a couple more questions before we wrap up. So we might have to do a little rapid fire here. Let's see.
Can you elaborate on how the IRS defines running a business? Lily, I wish I could. The IRS is so vague, and there's not it's a lot of gray area that happens with these. That's why we advise for you to go to a CPA that can go ahead and answer these type of questions, because we don't know what running a business would be. So we basically want you to make investments through the Checkbook LLC, pay any expenses for the properties or investments. But when you go into, can I get a car rental? Can I get a hotel because I'm visiting the property? Can I, run it? Can I do expenses through it? That's more of running a business to me at least, that has done LLC filings for a long time. So that would be an active business, which would be your sponsor company. It wouldn't be your Checkbook LLC.
Um, Lewis asked, when repaying an investment, am I free to designate as either repayment of principal or profit as I see fit, or is there a rule regarding that? So, Lewis, that is going to depend on the terms that you set up in your investment. You are in full control over how your investments are made. So, if I and Claudia are going into an investment together where I'm lending her money, she's told me that she needs $100,000 for her next investment. Cool. So now I need to figure out, what do those terms look like? Do I want just 12% interest on that money, and then that's all she's going to owe me? If that's what it is, then okay. At the end of the term, Claudia owes me 12% on that loan. And how that gets repaid, whether it's monthly payments with principal and interest, whether it has regular intervals, whether it's just principal payments and all the interest is due at the end, or whether it's just one giant balloon payment at the end, that's entirely up to how we set our terms. That's the advantage of self directing, where you can work with your investment individual and find the terms that are agreeable to both of you to make sure that you're maximizing the investment for both of you. I can't touch the money inside of my retirement account right now. I won't be able to until I'm retired. So I don't mind lending Claudia $100,000 for the next year because I can't do anything and I'm going to earn 12% interest. So as long as my terms are agreeable to both of us, it works out.
That's correct. That would be in your promissory note with your supporting documentation. So whatever you see fit, that's what we will follow. We will tell you that if there are certain terms, then when we get the money, we will go ahead and check to make sure that that you're following those terms. But ultimately it is a self-directed IRA. So we let you decide what you want to charge or
Yep.
not charge.
And if we do ever get money where we are uncertain of how it's supposed to be repaid, our deposits team, who handles all inbound money, will contact you either with a phone call or an email to request information and most likely documentation on how we should allocate your money. So there will definitely be communication. Our team will not just allocate funds willy nilly. We have to be compliant in how money comes back into the account as well from investments. So everything is pretty much transacted. One of the questions that just came in before we wrap up here is this being recorded? Yes, this webinar is recorded. It will be available later today. So be sure to look out for that. Anyone who attended today, I will send you an email with that replay. So just be on the lookout for that this afternoon. Last question here that I want to hit before wrapping up. And Claudia, thank you so much for joining me today. It was such a pleasure to have you. After a 3-day weekend, it was very nice to reconnect and sit here for an hour with all of you individuals. So thank you, Claudia, for being here today.
Thank you.
Last question I want to answer here is, I rolled over my 401k into Horizon Trust self-directed IRA. I received a 1099-R from my old 401k at Vanguard. Will I receive any tax document for Horizon Trust that shows I put the money into a self-directed account? And can I find those forms online? Yes. So when you do take money out from a retirement account, a 1099 will be issued in one way, shape, or form. The 1099-R does show that it is from a retirement account and that it was rolled over, I believe, is what that R specifically is standing for. And it is moved into us. But apart from that, I believe we generate a tax document as well that is then countering that 1099-R that tells the IRS $100,000 left from Vanguard and moved to Horizon Trust. And we send out a tax document that says we received $100,000 from Vanguard for this amount. So those two documents together become essentially null and void. So the IRS is like, cool, my hands are clean, move on to my next.
And I know that there are a lot of questions that are still outstanding. So, what we would recommend is you set up an appointment with one of our specialists. We had Alicia put the links there. So, set up an appointment, get your questions answered. There's a lot of how do I get started, what are the costs, all of that. Just set up an appointment, and we'll be able to go. Every situation is different. Every account is different. So we want to make sure that we understand what you have going on and give you the best recommendations. So set up an appointment. We'll have our setters call this afternoon or tomorrow to go ahead and see if you're interested in setting up an appointment with an IRA specialist. But that's the best way to get your specific questions answered.
Yeah.
I do want to bring up that everything that we went over is generic. We try to go through the questions as best as we can and answer it to the best of our ability, but every situation is different. So we do want to have you guys talk to an IRA specialist and go over your specifics.
Yep. And then something that did pop up in there in the chat as well was where can I access these recordings or replays? As mentioned, they're on Greg's YouTube channel, Horizon. So you can go to YouTube and search up Greg Herline. Alicia also did just drop into the chat moments ago a link that says horizontrust.com/event. In there is access to Greg Herline's YouTube channel through a specific video, but you can get to it through that video. And that will allow you to see our latest videos. They are all uploaded shortly after the webinar. Because of this new time frame, it allows us to upload it same day. So if you wanted to circle back to anything we said today, you'll be able to catch up on it this afternoon. So I guess that's time for today. Thank you all for joining us here today. Alicia, thank you for manning the cameras back there and the audio levels. We hope the audio was amazing. Claudia, thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all on the next one. Have a wonderful rest of your day and enjoy your week.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There's lots more great content for you to learn and enjoy and apply to. And so anyways, click on the link below and listen to more videos or set an appointment with us. We look forward to hearing from you and also helping you.